You still with me? Where are the samples? You're a bit.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. One way or another, you have probably heard about Resident Evil, whether it's from video games, from movies, maybe some really bad movies.
But you have heard of it.
Either way, you have heard of it. But in my opinion, one of the coolest characters most folks haven't heard of. That is HUNK. So today we have created the HUNK Loadout from Resident Evil. This has been a loadout that I have wanted ever since I was a kid. I remember seeing HUNK in the video game Operation Raccoon City. That's the first time I ever saw HUNK, and I thought his kit was so cool. Me being a Gyarados at the time, I looked at him like, I want that. So for those of you who don't know, HUNK works for Umbrella, and Umbrella's kind of the bad guys. Imagine Amazon gets into pharmaceuticals, they create a paramilitary organization to help take care of their bioweapons and other jobs, perhaps silencing some of their more pesky employees. Talking about you, Dr. Birkin. Umbrella is this big bad corporation, and it has gotten so large they have their own paramilitary service in order to perform operations, security, eliminate high value targets, or eliminate threats that they have maybe accidentally created, these bioweapons, whether it be zombies, tyrants, what have you. So our character HUNK is the leader of Alpha Team, which is a part of the USS, which is the Umbrella Security Service, which is basically the special operations of their team. There's a few other teams, notably including Delta Team, which has a pretty cool character on there named Vector. Maybe another loadout video, but I digress. HUNK is a one-man killing machine who puts the mission and objective above all else. Oftentimes, HUNK would go on missions and he would be the sole survivor. Now, with HUNK being the sole survivor with a lot of these different missions, he adopted the nickname of Mr. Death, the Grim Reaper, as well as his codename HUNK. Now, it wasn't really confirmed, but the unofficial lore stands for Human Unit Never Killed. Kinda cool. Now, ever since playing Operation Raccoon City, I have had this fascination with HUNK's gear. With his glowing gas mask, his all black gear, I just had to have it. So this has been a fantasy to recreate his loadout since like 2011, and finally we did it. So I hope you join me as we do a breakdown of HUNK's loadouts in real life. Apparently I can't say IRL anymore because nobody says that, but I mean, what do I know? Now, a lot of HUNK's kit is inspired by the time, which is the late 90s, maybe some early 2000s gear. And if you look at it, you can totally see. If you were to look into a guns and ammo catalog right around the late 90s, you'd probably recognize a lot of this gear. Now, the most iconic piece of HUNK's loadout is, of course, his gas mask. There's something about the glowing red eyes of his gas mask that made him into such an iconic character. So we did have to recreate it as faithfully as we can. Now, the video games do take a little bit of liberty as far as the designs. Not everything is based off of real life. It may be designed off something. The original gas mask, as best as I can tell, is designed off the FM12 gas mask, which I have an S10, which is the slightly newer version. The really only main differences is how the gas mask sits on your face and then the size of the eyes. The S10, the eyes are a little bit larger because the mask sits a little bit further away from your face. Either way, this is one of the closest that we can get to his mask. Now with it, he did have the red lenses and they did glow. I don't know any gas mask that actually has glowing lenses. Now the red lenses are a real thing. As you can see here, I've got my S10 outfitted with the red outserts, which basically clip on over the actual lenses themselves. Breaking down the gas mask, HUNK's Max does have the VPU on the front of the gas mask, which is a voice projection unit, which kind of helps people around you hear because talking in a gas mask kind of sucks. On HUNK's gas mask, it has a filter that I've never seen before. I think Capcom took some liberties here and created a little bit of a smaller filter, probably just to look better on screen. But if HUNK were to be out there in the wild, he would absolutely use a full NBC filter because he's running into all sorts of bioweapons, so he's gonna have to be prepared as much as he possibly can. So we're running a full filter on here. This isn't a faux, this isn't a fake, this isn't a particulate filter, it's a full NBC filter. As far as getting the eyes to glow, we did have to run lights in from the outside all the way onto the inside to create the glow effect. Now, I don't believe this is very practical, but for the LARP, we had to do it. Now, with the eyes and lights set aside, the S10 is honestly a really great gas mask. FM12 falls under the same category as well, and it is very easy to wear, especially for extended periods of time. With one of my previous videos, I worked under a GP5 gas mask, and that was absolutely miserable to use. Now, one of his other more iconic pieces of kit is going to be his helmet. He's got one of these old school, almost like a Mitch helmet or a PSG helmet. And in a couple of the different games, there's some slight variations. This one that I have currently is a Mitch helmet. This is a fully bulletproof helmet, level 3A or whatever. However, one of the problems that I ran into is because of the way it's set up with the edge of the lip, it kind of sits on top of the eyes of the gas mask because they're a little bit larger. So I ended up switching to a PSG helmet, which the brim is a little bit more pushed out, which allows the gas mask to sit a little bit lower without sitting on top of the eye. Let's talk about the chest piece, the armor and the chest rig. Now, there's a lot of different renditions of HUNK, which has some different types of kit, but with the 4th Survivor DLC, you can see some very distinct pieces. One is he has a slick plate carrier with a chest rig over the top of it. He's got some form of split rig, as we see here. And originally, I didn't know why he chose a split rig or a split rig was chosen. Maybe it was design, but after actually running this with the rest of it, there is a reason that actually makes it a little bit more usable. On the back, he has a hydration bladder, and the hydration bladder goes over the chest rig, and so it really becomes one singular piece. If it didn't have the buckles, taking this on and off would be almost impossible without taking the full back unit off. So by having these buckles, you can undo the buckles, lift the cummerbund, and pull the whole thing off. And it actually made it pretty usable. I had to take this kit on and off over the past week and a half so many times as I was trying to get all the footage and everything done. So it is pretty usable. It's a little bit cumbersome. It's not as easy as throwing a regular plate carrier on, but at the time this is based off of, which is the early 90s, it actually makes a lot of sense and totally functional. On the back, we have his radio. HUNK fell victim to the 90s era of having your radio on your back. I don't know why so many of these guys put their radio on their back, because they couldn't reach it. Maybe they just set the channel and hope they don't bump a button while dealing with all the zombies within Raccoon City. I don't know. With that, I have that routed to a headset, which just goes and connects to my ear via an earpiece. On the back of this plate carrier and chest rig setup, we do have a hydration bladder. Oftentimes HUNK is on extended missions, so carrying some water with him would probably be a good thing. Furthermore, on his kit, I added a few road flares because you never know when you're going to need to give a little bit of a distraction, or your flashlight batteries die, or you need to call in your extraction. As far as the armor is concerned, I went ahead and used some soft, flexible body armor. This isn't rated for rifle, but I think HUNK's major concern is bites and things like that, and so soft armor is going to help protect him from bites, zombies, scratches, and things like that. Now, in his chest rig in the game, he's got buckles on his pouches. I don't have the buckles on my pouches, I just have the Velcro. And I'll tell you what, the buckles are a little bit slower, but nothing is more loud than trying to lift Velcro when you're in a city full of zombies. So it kind of makes sense that HUNK chose buckles, because he can just undo the buckle buckle and reload quietly if he needs to, rather than alerting everybody with the sound of Velcro. On the rest of the kit, I've got a couple different items. I have some flashbangs. As you see throughout the Resident Evil universe, flashbangs are used to great effect. I also equipped a smoke. Next, under my arm, I do have some shotgun shells. All throughout the series, you do see HUNK with a more traditional pump action shotgun. So I went ahead and threw some shotgun shells on the kit because when dealing with a bunch of zombies, having a few spare shells is going to be super useful. Moving down to the belt, it is very much a product of its time, which is that 90s level nylon with the big plastic buckles. On his left-hand side, you do see a few pistol pouches. Once again, he uses buckles, and I went ahead and went with Velcro. Pushing forward, we've got another spare magazine, as well as a knife. HUNK deals with a lot of close quarter combat. All throughout the franchise, you're going to see a lot of the characters use a knife to break free of some of these creatures, or if you're Leon Kennedy, you're going to be parrying all sorts of assaults with nothing but your knife. Leon Kennedy is built different. I don't know if he's built as good as HUNK, but he's built different. Moving back further, I have a pouch for a flashlight. You can see all throughout the franchise of using a flashlight to explore some dark areas or the sewers underneath Raccoon City as well. Now, this is actually the first time I ever shot with a pistol while holding a flashlight, and I'll tell you what, I don't like it very much. I think if HUNK were to be in the modern age, he'd probably have some form of pistol light on his pistol. Moving further back, HUNK has a big utility pack on his belt. Now, this is kind of cumbersome and it makes getting in and out of vehicles kind of annoying because it's so much, but I can see that being filled with survival items, maybe some MREs, things like that to help sustain him. After Operation Nest, when HUNK is the sole survivor of his team, he is in the sewers for a few days, surviving off of God knows what. I can only assume that he's got a few survival items in there because HUNK's will to survive and accomplish the mission, he's gonna bring a pizza-flavored MRE. I just know it. I just know it. Moving over to the right side, I have another magazine pouch in order to stuff more magazines into. You can never have enough ammo when dealing with zombies. Finally, on our belt, we do have some grenades. Now, believe it or not, I could not get a hold of actual grenades. So I'm working with dummy grenades. For the people in the YouTube comments mad that I've got prop grenades on my belt, find me a place to actually get real grenades legally, and I'll be right there. I'll be the first guy in line buying them. Until then, give me a break, okay? Okay. All throughout Resident Evil, our heroes use fragmentation grenades to get out of some of their most severe encounters. Moving down to the legs, he has a big pouch on his left-hand side. This looks to be a gas mask pouch, which makes perfect sense because HUNK wears a gas mask. Ooh, wow, ooh, wow, detective. Wow, I've met so many detectives, but wow, you detect so much more than all the other detectives. I ended up choosing not to use one of those because it did feel a little cumbersome. And so what I did is I built a drop leg platform with an HSGI med pack that you can just yank out because I think some extra meds would be very useful. Now, the thing about a zombie apocalypse is if you need meds, you might have got bit, and no amount of tourniquets or ibuprofen or morphine is going to fix that problem. But in our very special med pack, we've got green plants and we've got red plants ready to be combined into the most OP healing solution of all time. I don't know what's in the green and red plants, but that shit can cure cancer. I swear to God. Now, believe it or not, HUNK was not sent into the Umbrella Labs underneath Raccoon City to take out Birkin and get the G virus. He was sent there to get something far more important. Viking Brew Monster. Thanks to HUNK and the efforts of Alpha Team that we are blessed with such a beverage. Nothing fuels me up more than Viking Brew Monster. I could take out a B-11 Tyrant with this bad boy. HUNK also uses a drop leg platform, which once again is a product of the time. Now, with the amount of stuff and large pouches that HUNK has on his belt, it makes sense that he would have some form of drop leg platform to get it away from all that gear. It makes drawing way easier. Now, and a lot of the stuff he's using, he uses a fabric universal holster, okay? I couldn't do it. I just couldn't bring myself to use one of those. So I chose the next best thing for the little bit of an air LARP, which is the Blackhawk Serpa holster. I hate carrying a hot gun in a fabric holster. I just can't do it, all right? So sue me for using a Serpa holster, okay? Sue me. Sue me. Put there in the comments, tell me how stupid I am because I have an old Serpa holster, okay? Get over it. Now, believe it or not, the thing that I hated the most about this kit was the elbow pads. On Hunk's kit, he is always wearing elbow pads and knee pads, which are just those typical run-of-the-mill knee pads and elbow pads that you see everywhere. And so like these stupid things, I hate them. When I was a kid, I'm like, oh man, those are so cool. Those are so rad. Why doesn't everyone wear elbow pads? I'll fucking tell you, because they suck. They absolutely suck. Oh my God, I'm going off the rails. Elbow pads are so annoying. They cut off your circulation. You can never get them the right tightness. They're either slipping down your arm or they're so tight, you begin to wonder if your med class is kicking in and you just applied a tourniquet. I fucking hate them. I could rant about them forever. Now, finally, let's talk about my weapon of choice here. Hunk is known for his MP5. I get that. However, I am not known for my MP5, mainly because I don't have an MP5. I tried to find one for this video, but I just couldn't justify spending $2,500 on a Zenith MP5. I couldn't do it. Maybe next year, or you can subscribe to my channel and maybe next year we can get an MP5. Anyway, so I went with the next best thing. Hunk is going to be using some close quarters weapons. He's oftentimes working within these small labs or these close proximity. He's not really taking out zombies from extended range. A lot of times in the game, it's talked about how he favors close quarters combat. He even developed a whole fighting style on it later on. So for this, I went with a 10.5 AR, and to make it a little bit more era specific, we went ahead and added the carry handle as well as a more traditional style optic. We also went with this telescopic brace because it kind of gives those MP5 vibes without being an MP5. So like, please appreciate my efforts. Continuing forward, we've got an angled foregrip. We've got a Surefire Scout Mini Light because Hunk absolutely needs a flashlight. Boop, boop. And Resident Evil loves their lasers, so we went ahead and attached a PEQ laser device. Now this is just a Somogear PEQ laser, but you get the point. On the end here, we've got the SilencerCo Omega 36M in the K variant. So this is just the most compact package that I could put together. One other reason why I chose to set it up this way is with this carry handle, it does let you easily aim for the optic while using a gas mask. Hunk is never without his iconic gas mask. So of course we had to do it and try to make it as functional as possible. As far as a pistol is concerned, I don't have the hand cannon Lightning Hawk, so I went ahead and chose the Walther P99, which it may not be a perfect selection for this loadout, but it's the only one I have that isn't just kitted out to the nines because he just uses a basic ass pistol without red dots and flashlights. So we went ahead and went with this, and I can see Hunk using one of these bad boys. It is a good pistol. I do love it. So thank you for joining me on this Halloween special where I got to live my fantasies of being Hunk from Resident Evil. If you're a Resident Evil fan, you have to subscribe. You have to do it. You do. If you like more video game loadouts, then, I mean, welcome in. I've got a couple of them and more to come. What video game loadout should I do next? I will see you all on the next one. Oh, man. Hunk was sweaty all the time. I just know it.